From Yuma to San Luis to El Centro and the Imperial Valley, this is ABC5 News.
This is a serious concern for our future. A productive, healthy society requires sober citizens.
That's one thought behind the legalization of marijuana for recreational use in California. But others say the Golden State should follow Colorado's lead and reap the financial benefits of allowing people to smoke. Good evening. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us for your local news on ABC5. I'm Anna Hayes. As you probably know, Colorado is the first state to legalize recreational marijuana, and that experiment is being watched closely in California. Your local news anchor Anna Chalk heard from lots of people, many of whom say their opinion is shifting in favor of legalizing the drug. Hey, Anna.
Good evening, Anna Hayes. That's true. Popular opinion does seem to be shifting in favor of legalizing marijuana for recreational purposes in the state of California. And what that means is here at the state line, on one side, you'll have to have a prescription from a doctor to get the drug. And on the other side, you won't. Check it out. There are long lines to get high. In fact, business is booming at recreational pot shops in Denver, and some want this to happen in the Golden State.
30, 40 years into the war on drugs, and particularly when it comes to marijuana, that was a failed initiative, that we've spent billions of dollars putting people away.
The American Civil Liberties Union released a poll in October that shows 65% of Californians are in favor of legalizing, regulating, and taxing marijuana in our state. 27% strongly oppose it.
There's no doubt any longer that marijuana is a gateway drug. Of the hundreds of people who die every day of overdose on other drugs, virtually every one of them started with marijuana.
People do want to make sure that minors don't have any more access to marijuana.
This is a serious concern for our future. A productive, healthy society requires sober citizens.
In Colorado, residents can buy 1 ounce of cannabis, which costs $200 or more. People from out of state can buy up to a 1/4 ounce. Many people we heard from here in California have mixed feelings about following Colorado's lead and legalizing marijuana.
We have enough problems with people that are drunk driving behind the wheel. And so you're going to have the same amount of people. How are they going to regulate that?
I think it would be a source of tax revenue, that's for sure. But I think regulating it, I think that'd be the tricky part.
It's kind of a good and a bad, and I'm not quite sure which way, I would vote.
Back out here at the Arizona-California state line, we've all heard of snowbirds. We have our fair share of those here in the valley. Now check this out. Colorado is seeing an increase in what they are calling smoke birds. And that's exactly what it sounds like. People who are flocking from all over to take advantage of the state's newly enacted marijuana laws. Now that's definitely something California will be looking at because they are looking for ways to generate revenue from outside sources. Reporting for your local news in HD, I'm Anna Chalk. Anna Hayes, back to you.
Fascinating story. Thanks, Anna Chalk. Well, if you were traveling westbound on Interstate 8 today, you may have noticed a bit of a delay. Officer Carrick Cook with the Department of Public Safety tells us a 3-vehicle accident happened this morning around 9. The wreck delayed traffic for about an hour. According to Cook, no one was injured, but a trailer and truck were badly damaged. The new year is bringing a new leader to the city of Yuma. The freshly elected mayor and city council members will be inaugurated tomorrow in historic downtown.
Well, I'm pretty excited. I think there's a lot of good energy moving forward. So we're looking to have a real positive year. We just came through the New Year's. I think everyone's excited. So I'm just looking to build on that.
Douglas Nichols, who you just heard from, and the other city council members will join presiding municipal judge James Coyle at the ceremony. It all starts at 5 p.m. at the historic Yuma Theater on Main Street. The new mayor and councilmen will have their first regular meeting next Wednesday, and you're invited. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Well, yesterday we brought you a story of a heroic California Highway Patrol officer who saved a baby from choking to death. Today, your local news reporter Eduardo Santiago met the officer who came to the rescue on New Year's Eve.
Tuesday night, California Highway Patrol Officer Salvador Acevedo was at the end of his shift at the CHP El Centro office. He was still in the building when he heard the commotion.
One of the dispatchers ran down the hallway and was screaming if anybody was in the building. I told her I was. She said there was an emergency out front, but didn't say what it was.
Acevedo says he was the only officer at the station and it was luckily just feet away from the mother standing outside with her choking baby. Officer Salvador Acevedo says a woman came up to the door, which was locked because it was after hours. So she picked up the phone and called dispatch as her baby was choking.
So I turned him over face down, and I gave him I started giving back blows. On the third one I gave him, he jerked and came to, started crying, and that was it. We waited for paramedics who got here 5 minutes later.
Acevedo says although he is properly trained for this kind of emergency, he had never encountered such situation in his 7 years as a CHP officer.
We go to accidents on a daily basis, write tickets on a daily basis, help other people on a daily basis, but something like this does not happen on a daily basis. All I can say is thank God it worked out the way it did, and that's all. I'm very thankful it worked out the way it did.
I have called the mother, but so far have not heard back from her. Officers say the baby was taken to the local hospital by paramedics, but his condition is unknown. For your local news in HD, I'm Eduardo Santiago.
He was definitely in the right place at the right time. Let's take a live look outside now with our ABC5 tower camera and get a check of those Friday conditions. 58 degrees in all areas of our viewing area. Let's check in with forecaster Nicole Gomez. She has a sneak peek at our local weather. Hey, Nicole.
It was such a nice day across the valley today, especially what portions of the northeast are having to deal with. We almost hit 80 degrees in El Centro. 78 was the high today. We were also close to 80 in Yuma, a little cooler in Blythe at 73. 76 was the high in Imperial, and Mexicali hit the mid 70s for today. So again, it was beautiful for today. The nice weather will stick around for the weekend, but we are expecting stronger winds. I'll have the details of when the winds will pick up and if we could see rain next week. That's all coming up in your local weather. Back to you.
Nicole, like you said, as millions dig out from a huge overnight storm, the weather is throwing more danger at them. Polar temperatures honed by howling winds are sweeping in fears of frostbite and hypothermia. Some of the coldest air since the mid-90s will grip much of the mid-Atlantic in an icy chokehold. ABC's Taman Bradley has the latest.
A brutal Arctic blast has frozen much of America. Tonight, 100 million people are bundled up in bone-chilling cold. In the Northeast, the snow let up, but fierce winds made life miserable. The deep freeze had a ripple effect on travel.
I drove from Virginia all the way back to Philly, and roads were the same in every state I drove through, and it's just absolutely horrendous.
The weather crippled airports. Tonight, many flyers are sleeping in chairs or windowsills. De-icers sprayed planes, but thousands of flights were delayed or canceled.
They brought us out on the runway, and we taxied around for a couple hours, and then we actually got off the plane and had to go find a hotel.
In Chicago, firefighters called to a 3-alarm fire tried to thaw freezing icicles on a fire hydrant. A mailman on the job in the bitter cold got his truck stuck in icy waters.
And I went back out there in my car and delivered the rest of the mail.
In your personal car?
Yeah.
And this was the scene after a man fell through treacherously thin ice.
They were able to get the ladder out to him, hook his arm around it, and pull him out.
It's cold, so you think that the water is frozen, but it's not.
From Philadelphia to Maine, entire cities were paralyzed. For many, Friday was a day off.
The upper Midwest had the coldest temperatures tonight, and here in New York, it's pretty bad too, with another blast of winter on the way. Taman Bradley, ABC News, New York.
Makes you grateful for our weather, right? Well, here's a look at what's straight ahead on your local news. The Supreme Court could hand down another order in the controversy over the birth control mandate in Obamacare. And is diet soda the key to losing weight this new year? I'll let you know after the break. Welcome back. More than 1,200 pounds of marijuana were seized last night after a short traffic pursuit. El Centro Sector Border Patrol agents say surveillance camera operators spotted a suspected smuggler driving into the U.S. It happened about 15 miles west of downtown Calexico. You can see on your screen the bundled packages of pot inside the SUV. Agents say the man tried to flee back into Mexico after he saw the Border Patrol units. A total of 46 packs with an estimated street value of almost $1 million were seized. The driver was a 53-year-old man from Mexico. The drugs, the driver, and the vehicle were turned over to the DEA. As you know, unemployment benefits recently expired. Well, on Monday, the Senate will hold a key procedural vote on a bill to extend those benefits for another 3 months. That's according to a spokesman for Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Monday's vote is the first of several that the Democratic-controlled Senate must hold before potential passage of the bill. If the Senate passes the measure, the GOP-controlled House of Representatives would also need to approve. And the Obama administration is asking the High Court to uphold law that orders employers to provide free contraception care to their workers. Jim Acosta reports that doesn't sit well with religious nonprofits.
The Little Sisters of the Poor, a group of nuns seen here in this video operating a nursing home, won a brief victory this week when Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor granted religious nonprofits a temporary break from the contraception mandate in Obamacare.
In this home, nobody dies alone.
Obeying that mandate and providing birth control coverage to their employees, the nuns argued, would violate their religious beliefs. Breaking the rule, they added, would mean paying millions of dollars in fines they don't have.
Part of our role is collecting because, we don't get a salary, we don't have enough income, so we go begging.
In its response to Sotomayor, the Obama administration noted religious nonprofits have options. They could sign a document stating their religious objections and have a third-party insurer provide the benefits without the nuns' involvement. The applicants have no legal basis, the government argued, to complain that it involves them in the process of providing contraceptive coverage. Daniel Blomberg, one of the attorneys for the Little Sisters of the Poor, says the government is bullying the nuns.
All the Little Sisters are saying is that's not a solution to our religious problem. In our faith, we can't do it ourselves, and we can't order somebody else to do something that we can't do ourselves.
And to get fired up for the work ahead of us.
But Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, maintains the free contraception coverage is critical to women's health.
This is a huge advance for women's health. This other matter will be decided by the court, but again, it is one that's already covered under religious exemptions that were decided months and months ago.
Jim Acosta reporting, and later this year, the Supreme Court is expected to hear another challenge to the birth control mandate in Obamacare brought by for-profit companies. The cases won't have an impact on the overall law, but they could serve as another reminder of some of the controversial aspects of Obamacare heading into the midterm elections. Well, we think of diet soda as kind of a cheat, a way to get around consuming calories while still getting our soda. But as it turns out, there's actually some stuff you need to know. Even though diet soda has no calories, experts say it won't help you lose weight. Researchers at the University of Texas found that over a decade, diet soda drinkers had a 70% greater increase to their waistline compared to non-drinkers. Why? Well, your body processes artificial sweeteners like sugar, and so you still gain weight. Part of it might also be psychological. You might justify eating less healthy foods because you just had a diet drink. So what should you drink? It's pretty simple. Stick to water. Cheerios is going non-GMO. General Mills says it's now making the original Cheerios without ingredients containing GMOs or genetically modified organisms. Some consumers are concerned about the health and environmental impact of GMOs, although they haven't been proven harmful scientifically. The main ingredient in original Cheerios is oats. GMO oats do not exist yet. The change comes in the sugar and cornstarch. It only applies to the original flavor Cheerios and not to other varieties such as Honey Nut. So what sparked this change? For the past year, a green economy advocacy group has been rallying consumers on social media to pressure General Mills to remove GMOs from Cheerios. It targeted Cheerios because it's often among the first foods given to toddlers. Those bigger portions of meat on your kids' school lunch tray are here to stay. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says it is making permanent changes in rules, relaxing limits on school lunch portions. The USDA had restricted portions of meat and grains to help combat childhood obesity. Now the agency says a 2012 rule that temporarily allowed larger servings of lean protein and whole grains will be made permanent. The government had faced complaints that kids were going hungry under the restricted portions. Well, coming up just after this quick break, the flu is spreading and it's heading west. How you can prevent yourself from getting the flu after these short messages. We'll be right back.
You're watching Your Local News on ABC5 with Anna Hayes and Nicole Gomez with weather.
Hey Everyone, welcome back. It is Friday. It's almost the weekend, and it's time to check back in with Nicole Gomez to get a look at our complete weekend forecast. Hi again, Nicole.
Well, after a beautiful day we had today with temperatures close to the 80s across much of our area and mostly clear skies, we are expecting winds to pick up. But let's start our future track model off at Saturday at 7 o'clock, where we're still seeing those clear conditions into our lunch hour, where there's not much to talk about as far as rain is concerned or even clouds. But Saturday night we are expecting stronger winds. So if you have plans on stepping out, just be advised that the winds could gust as high as 35 miles per hour. The nice weather will continue into your Sunday at 7 o'clock in the morning. We're still seeing those mostly clear skies. So here's your forecast for Saturday. Expect a high of 75 degrees with overnight temperatures dropping down to the 50s. Plenty of sunshine on Saturday with temperatures slightly cooler at 73 degrees. It will be chilly tonight with much of our area dropping down to the 40s. Partly cloudy skies is what you can expect. Temperatures will drop down to 46 for San Luis, 40 degrees for Welton. Again, a beautiful day tomorrow with temperatures sitting in the 70s for Brawley, Calexico, 73 for Mexicali. Look for a high of 73 in Blythe, 74 for San Luis. Overnight, Yuma will drop down to 50 degrees with light winds in the forecast. The light winds will continue tonight into tomorrow, but remember, tomorrow night is when the winds are expected to pick up. 75 is what you can expect as far as your temperature. 44 overnight in El Centro with a high tomorrow of 75 and light winds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Here's your day planner. If you plan on heading out around 9 o'clock in the morning, expect temperatures in the 50s. We're in the 70s by lunchtime, and around 5 o'clock. Mid-70s is what you can expect. So it'll be a nice weekend, except again, those winds will pick up. The 70s will continue up until about Tuesday. 72 is what you can expect. Notice rain remains out of the forecast, but the winds will pick up again for Thursday. Friday, look for a high of 72. Back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. Well, the flu season is making a strong comeback after a slow start. Just last week, 6 states reported high levels of flu cases. ABC's Aditi Roy with the story.
The flu is now hitting hard and spreading fast. It first took off in the South, with Texas and Mississippi getting hit before Thanksgiving. Now into the Southeast and the West. The CDC says the dominant strain so far this season, the H1N1 virus, which hits young and middle-aged harder than older people who may have developed some immunity after facing a similar strain in the 1940s and 50s. The message tonight? It's not too late to get a flu shot. Officials say it can reduce your chances of getting the virus by 50 to 70%, the best and quickest protection against what is now a fast-moving enemy. Aditi Roy, ABC News, San Francisco.
Still ahead, the number of pull-ups our Marines can do is causing quite a bit of controversy tonight. But first, here's what you'll see tonight on Jimmy Kimmel.
Thanks. Here's some of the magic that's waiting for you after the news. Here we go. All right, there we go. Look at that. See that? And then...
Facebook is facing a class action lawsuit. The world's #1 social media company is being accused of intercepting users' private messages, scanning them, and handing that data over to marketers and advertisers for a profit. And the suit, filed by 2 Facebook users in federal court of San Jose, California, is seeking hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. The suit claims Facebook is in violation of the Federal Electronic Privacy Act, California's state laws, and the company's own promise of unprecedented security.
They better have it in the fine print, and they better have it in a disclosable place. I went after Facebook myself several years ago because they were using private information that children put on there without adequate notice to children. I sat down with the general counsel for Facebook and worked out an agreement that they would change their policies.
Lawsuits like these are becoming more and more common, with Yahoo, Google, and LinkedIn all facing similar legal attacks. Well, admit it, you hated doing pull-ups in gym class. Most of us don't have to worry about that anymore, but the grueling exercise is one of the key ways the U.S. Marine Corps measures an individual's fitness for combat. Men have to be able to do at least 3 pull-ups. Starting this year, the Marine Corps planned to hold its women to the same standard. But now the change is being delayed after 55% of women Marines fail to meet the 3 pull-up minimum. Officials say they want to give female Marines more time to train to meet the new standard. Some points to the current failure as proof women lack the physical ability to be in combat. Proponents of gender equality say the military are able to pass the pull-up test, though it may require more training than it does for men. An imposter exposed, the man who had so many fooled, including rich investors, that he was a decorated Navy SEAL with ambitious business plans. The whole time they were admiring a lying ex-convict until his elaborate plan fell apart, and he's not the only one out there. ABC's Matt Gutman investigates.
Clear it, come around, and shoot.
As A.J. Dicken liked to tell people, he wasn't just any old Navy SEAL. He claimed to be the most decorated Navy SEAL in history. Even says he fired a kill shot on Osama bin Laden. He ran a military-style self-defense school. Carol Roberts was his student.
What's your first impression of him?
He's a big guy. He commands authority by his size.
Punch the head.
But Dicken told Carol he'd set his sights on something far bigger. An international security firm, and even convinced a pair of local doctors to invest $850,000 in his company.
He said, well, I'm ex-Navy SEAL, and then I went into the CIA after I retired from the SEALs.
Business was taking off, so he hired Carol.
So you actually quit a good job in order to work with Dicken.
Yep.
Because you thought the money was coming in.
Yep, because I had seen the contracts.
A $500 million contract to do security in Africa. On paper, at least. Suspicious of his story, she asks a real Navy SEAL, Don Shipley, about Dicken. Shipley has access to the restricted SEAL database and exposes Dicken as a fraud.
How many guys have you exposed?
Thousands.
Thousands?
Oh, yeah. I verify on average at least 20 fraudulent SEAL claims every day.
Turns out he wasn't the guy who killed bin Laden, but a former bartender with a rap sheet who'd never served a day in the military.
It was all a great big fraud.
Outed, Dicken disappears. Months later, we track him down in Arkansas.
Yeah. How you doing, Mr. Dicken?
I have nothing to say to you.
Folks in the Navy SEAL community say that you're not a commando, you're a con artist. Which is it?
I have nothing to say.
His investors say they want their money, and Nevada now wants Dicken for felony weapons charges. Matt Gutman, ABC News, Miami.
Today, 2 new executive actions were announced that will help strengthen the federal background check system and keep guns out of the wrong hands. The Department of Justice is proposing a regulation to clarify who is prohibited from possessing a firearm under federal law for reasons related to mental health. The Department of Health and Human Services is issuing a proposed regulation to address barriers preventing states from submitting limited information on those persons to the federal background check system. The White House says the federal background check system is the most effective way to assure that individuals who may pose a danger to themselves or others are not able to get a gun from a licensed dealer. And the final report by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office on the deaths of actor Paul Walker and Roger Rodas is out. According to the report, Rodas, Walker's friend and business partner, was driving the Porsche 100+ miles per hour when it crashed in November. The vehicle slammed into a light pole and burst into flames in Santa Clarita, California. The report states that Rodas lost control for unknown reasons, adding that the roadway was dry and well lit at the time of the collision. The autopsy states that Walker was so badly burned that he couldn't be visually identified. There were no drugs or alcohol detected in either system. Walker shot to fame as star of the high-octane street racing franchise Fast and Furious. There's still lots ahead here on Your Local News, a tribute to one of the most beloved and influential musicians in Yuma. Stay with us. Fred Tesso is a familiar face in the musical community here in Yuma, and this weekend he'll be honored for influencing young musicians in our area. Tesso is a country crooner who sings and plays guitar for the local band, the Desperados. This Yuma native will be honored tomorrow at American Legion Post 19. Tesso has been sharing his talents in Yuma and parts of Southern California for more than 50 years. We spoke to Tesso and his nephew Bobby Avaro about his music.
Just that I played it from the bottom of my heart. That's all, you know. And you could talk to people by just singing a song, and you could talk to them.
If you'd like to go to the Fred Tesso tribute, the party starts tomorrow at 4 at American Legion Post on Virginia Avenue. There will be a $3 cover charge and plenty of food to enjoy. Well, visits to the Vatican tripled last year as people hoped for a glimpse of Pope Francis. Officials say more than 6.6 million people attended his event since March of 2013. That's 4 million more than with his predecessor, Pope Benedict. Pope Francis was recently named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Some of the good deeds that caught people's attention include inviting the homeless to his birthday and taking a teenage boy for a ride in the Pope Mobile. I was one of those visitors to the Vatican. I did not get to see Pope Francis, though. And we now know the name of the second winner of last month's Mega Millions jackpot. Steve Tran of San Jose, California won $324 million. He told lottery officials that he's a delivery truck driver and bought tickets at each one of his stops. It took him a few days to realize he'd won. If Tran takes the cash option, he'll walk away with $173 million. He has 60 days to choose a payment option. Big decisions, lucky guy. That's our show for tonight. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday at 6/5 Pacific. Here's how you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/AnnaHayesTV. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you Monday. Have a good night.